We're going to show you how to do a dump method package install. This is following the guide from the management mentoring in the Northwest New Jersey Beekeepers Association. In the guide, we gave you a checklist to prep a bunch of different activities. Get yourself a table, get yourself a tote. Inside it, you have a towel. If you're doing this in the sunshine, you don't want your bees to get too hot, so you could just cover them with the towel. So have one of those handy. Spray bottle with sugar water solution. I have a multi-tool, and because I'm going to do this right now, I've taken it out of the sheath to make it as efficient as possible. I have a screwdriver and a pry tool, putty knife, can opener, which I'll show you why in a little bit. And the other thing that I have in here is I have a rubber band and I have a push pin, and I'll explain the purpose of these. But the key that you should understand is I have my table set up, I have everything I need right here prepped, ready to go. Brought it out with my cart, I have my hive kit. We have a hive itself prepared. It's a single deep. It has the entrance reducer set to the smallest setting. And inside the hive, I have pulled out the 10th frame and set it aside. And I have placed an inner feeder inside the hive. And before I put the bees in it, I have already filled it with sugar water solution. You use 1-to-1 solution. 1 part sugar, 1 part water. It doesn't matter whether you weigh both of those or you measure them volumetrically. It's okay to do it either way. You're going to end up with the same solution. What I'm going to do real quick is tell you how this package works. Looking at this package, it has a can inside that you can see. That's the feeder can. Hanging inside on a strap is the queen cage. From the bottom, you can tell that both of those things are covered by the bees from transport. There's a wooden cover that is stapled, and hopefully the strap that holds the queen is stapled also. But one caution is when you take the top off, make sure you secure the strap so that the queen does not fall in the cage, or you're going to have to go fish her out. So I'm going to go through the process and I'll talk it through while we go, but now you know what a cage looks like. The first thing I'm going to do before I do anything with the bees is I'm going to spray them with sugar water. When I do this, what I'm doing is the sugar water makes them wet and they cannot fly. When I dump them out and they're out in the air, I don't want them flying all over the place. Now it's 70 degrees while I'm doing this tonight, and I'm okay with the fact that I could soak them pretty well. I'm okay with spraying a lot of the bees. If it were cooler, I would not spray them so much. Now I'm only getting the bees on the outside, so when I do dump the package, some will go in the air. Now you might know by the lighting going on that it's later in the evening. This is a time frame when you want to install the bees. Right at dusk, you put them in the hive, they get acclimated and it gets dark and they stay in there for the evening. So I have sprayed my bees. Now what I'm going to do is use my tool and I'm going to pry this up. I want to take the wooden cover off. Just going to pop the staples. And in the case of this package, I've noticed that the strap that's holding the queen has its own staple. So I don't have to worry about standing here holding the strap so the queen doesn't fall in. I can take that off independently. Okay, have my cover off. I'm going to put it in my tote. I'm going to need that in a minute. Now what I'm going to do is I need to get the bees off and pull the can out. In order to do that, I'm going to hold the package, drop it, and give it a firm stop, and the bees are going to fall to the floor. Now the bees are off the can, and they're on the bottom of the package. Now what I could do is take my tool and pry the can up and out. Sometimes this is easier said than done, and you could use different tools to accomplish it. Try this. As I said, I got it. So just be patient. It's no big rush here. I could get the lip of the can, but I'm struggling to get it up enough to get a grasp on it. It's always the way. There we go. Okay. I have my can, and I'm going to pull the can out. When I pull the can out, I don't want the bees to fly yet, so I'm going to have my cover ready. And now I'm just gently pulling it out, shaking it. If there's any bees still attached, I'm giving them the opportunity to fall off. Once I get this bottom lip out, I'm just going to slide it out. A couple bees get out, that's okay. Now, the can has holes in it, and it will have bees on it. You're going to turn it over so it doesn't leak all over the place. If you see the camera shaking, it's because the cat's rubbing against the post. Tiger the bee cat. Now what I'm doing is I'm going to take the staple out and free the queen. Sometimes I could just pull on the strap and break the strap instead of having to try and dig the staple out. They were not kidding around when they put these staples in here. Okay, I got it. Now I should be able to pull my queen out, and I'm going to have a couple bees come out. Again, I'm not worried about that. I'll shake a couple of them off. I want to know whether my queen made the trip. So I'll brush the bees off and I'll look. There's my queen, and there are all her attendants. I do see one dead attendant, which is the other bees that they put in here with this. More on that in a second. I know my queen is good. What I'm going to do is keep her safe by putting her in my pocket. And I'll take care of her in a second. I'm going to set my package aside. And if I were smart, I would have done this beforehand. I'm going to put my lid out. I'm going to put my inner cover out. I'm going to pull 5 frames out of the middle of my box. I would recommend you do this before. So 1 oops in the instruction. What I'm left with inside my box is an inner feeder. 2 frames on one side with foundation, 2 frames, and an empty hole in the middle. That's what I'm going to dump my package in. Now I'm ready to place my bees in. The process is going to be dump the bees in and take the frames and put them in right away, and then cover off the hive. I'm going to do a quick tap on the ground to knock the bees down, and then I'm going to turn them over and literally dump them out of the hole. I bang them down so they're collected, and now I'm dumping them. Now if I want to get them out of the hole, I could turn the package this way and turn the package this way. You could see that the bees are coming out quite nicely. Once I get most of them out, what I want to do is gather them together again. So I'm going to bang them down, and then I'm going to roll them back out. Once I'm satisfied that I've got the vast majority of the bees out, I'm just going to set my cage down here at the entrance, and I'm going to put my frames in. Now the bees are in a big clump in the bottom. If I want to make sure that I don't smash any bees, I'm going to put my frame in until they set on the bees, and then I'm going to wiggle them. Another thing I could do is take a hive tool or this type of tool and just spread them out a little bit so they're thinner on the bottom. I don't think I need to fuss too much about that. Now, you as a beginner, if you're doing this, before you would have started this, you'd have put all your gear on, of course. I want you to be able to hear me, so I did not put any protective equipment on. Now I'm going to put all my frames back but one. That one I'm going to use to affix my queen. And I want it to go in the middle. This is the frame I'm going to use to attach my queen. When you come to get your queen out of your pocket, know that the bees are going to find her sometimes. So don't be fussy about that, but pay attention. Don't get stung. I'm going to take the strap off. Now, sometimes people take the strap and they use the pin and hang the queen in the package. I'm not going to recommend you do that. I'm going to show you a different way. So I'm removing the strap from the package. Now I want to bring this to you and show you that there's two parts to this queen package. There's this part down here which has a basic end, and there's a part up here that has the white end. The white end is the candy end. What the bees will do is eat their way down through the candy, and then they'll open the hole and release the queen. In order for the bees to get to it, they need to be able to access the candy, and we don't want them to do that in transport. So what the producer has done is they put a little cork in here. I'm going to use my multi-tool and I'm going to reach in, making sure it's the candy end, not the other end, or you're going to leave a hole open for the bees. And I'm going to pull out my cork. Don't forget to pull the cork out, otherwise your queen cannot get out. Now when I put this in the hive, I'm going to make sure that this end with the hole is up. If the attendants that are dead in here fall to the bottom, they won't block this hole. If I have it this way, they could block the hole and the queen won't get out. That's why you do it with the hole up and the candy end up. I'm going to take my queen, I'm going to put her against the foundation, and I'm going to use the rubber band to secure her to the frame. This is what it should look like. You want the screen to face this way. If you did this wrong and put the cage in this way, this would face the frame next to it, and the bees would not be able to get in and feed your queen. If you put it this way, it is clear that they can get in, as you see, and get access to the queen and take care of her. So I'm going to put this in the hive. Now what I've seen is the bees have all walked up on the comb. They're checking out their new environment. This will or will not fit. It's hard to say. If it doesn't fit, I'll just take a frame out. I'm able to get it in with no problem. Now my queen is in the hive. I'm going to take my inner cover. Bees have already been fed. I'm going to take my outer cover. I'm going to cover off the hive. I'll put a weight on it, and that's it. Good to go. In a few days, 3 to 4 days, maybe even up to a week, you're going to come back. You're going to open the hive. You'll pull the frame that has the queen on it, check to see if she's released, and if she's not, then maybe you poke a hole in the candy or check what's going on. And then in time you'll feed it, and we'll have better instructions going forward. So it's not any more complicated than that. If you have questions, please leave comments for the video. Thanks for watching, everybody. As an add-on to this video, I wanted to talk about this because I know that there'll be comments on it. So just adding it after the fact. What about the food in the can? The honest answer is it's pennies on the dollar, but some people want to take care of the can. There's an inner feeder in the hive. This is why I suggested you could have a can opener. If you want to save this, you just take the can opener, make the indentations, take your inner cover and slide it sideways to where you can see the holes, and you just pour in the feed. So yes, you can use this if you're so inclined and not let it go to waste. We already filled the feeder. I have enough room to put what's left in this can, but you should have your feeder full, so you shouldn't have to do this. For our new beekeepers, we're not recommending you do the method where you put the can upside down and then put a box over and put the lid on. We do not want the bees building comb underneath the lid in that circumstance. It's just easier to go with the inner feeder. Okay, we said we had this, now you know the purpose of it.